Okay, we're going to go on our trip, river cruise down the Danube. We flew out of...
Now, wait a
San
minute,
Jose
wait a
to
minute.
Prague.
Wait till the movie starts and then start your narration. Just hold on.
Oh.
Watch. Should I mention that you wrote the music for this?
No, let's not say that.
We're at the takeoff into the runway, ladies and gentlemen. Number one, we should receive our clearance to roll in just a moment. We'd like to ask our flight attendants to please take their seats for takeoff at this time. Thank you.
We flew on United, stopped at a lot of lounges. It was pretty nice to stay in the VIP lounges at the airport.
Mm-hmm.
Free food.
And in Switzerland, all the chocolate you care to eat. Here we are at Prague, where we stayed at the beautiful Hilton Hotel. Here's the view from the glass elevator.
And we were in the old town of Prague. And the streets were lined with lots of stores selling lots of tchotchkes. So while we were walking on these cobblestones, you remember when my tennis shoes fell apart?
I do remember when your tennis shoes
The whole thing,
fell
they were
apart.
30 years old. I don't know, they just didn't last.
Once in a while you have to buy a new pair of
So I'm
tennis
walking
shoes.
kind of like on in my stocking feet on these
Oh,
cobblestones.
they broke down right across the street from a tennis shoe store.
Nice. This is the astronomical clock built in 1410. It's the world's oldest running clock, and it shows the phases of the moon and signs of the zodiac.
You see us there in the crowd looking at the clock, waiting for it to
No, we're to the left
happen.
Everybody watches it every hour for it to clang and figures move.
Free show. We took a 6-hour tour, and 1 hour of it was this lovely boat ride on the Prague River.
There's
There's the Charles Bridge. We went underneath that. That's the first bridge built in Prague.
On the top of that hill you can see the Prague's castle, which is the biggest and largest castle complex in Europe. And below that castle, this canal Čertovka separates one of the
They
10
treated us
Prague
to
islands on the river.
chocolate mint ice cream.
The island Kampa, which is located right now on our left-hand side.
We went to a medieval restaurant for lunch. This is from the 15th century. No electricity down there, it's just candles.
I'm having medieval potato soup.
This is pea soup.
Mokum Museum. Beautiful Art Nouveau posters.
This is the Prague Castle. And behind the castle is this elegant church for the upper class only.
The aristocrats.
Wasn't that a cartoon?
No, that was the Aristocats.
There are 52 churches in Prague, and since 90% of the population is agnostic or atheist, only 4% go to churches, so
They support maintaining the churches with musical venues.
And we were on the lookout for one of our favorite film directors. We found that they had just opened a museum to honor him, and so we found this bicycle rickshaw and went to the museum. He combined live action with animation, so they had clips from his movies.
And they showed us some of the special effects. He had made things look large that were small and things look small that were large.
And they had recreated some of the sets from his movies. So we walked through the sets. It was pretty interesting. I wound up buying 3 DVDs of his movies. This is the Freedom Wall that gets repainted constantly. It was inspired by John Lennon.
There were some young women painting over it as we were looking at it.
Here's the Charles Bridge. And there were a lot of street musicians all throughout Prague.
And I told you, I've seen that rose before. And I told you, walking up to the bay, I said, baby, look at your eyes. Yeah.
Regensburg. We took the bus from Prague to Regensburg. On our way to the ship, we stopped here and
Regensburg, Germany.
Glorious panorama of Regensburg and tell you how Regensburg developed. So those Italian merchants told
It was a
them
wealthy town
these are
due
vineyards
to the
from
salt
Africa.
industry. Salt was needed for preserving the foods back then.
In World War II, because we did not have one single military facility
Okay, Kimberly, what are we eating here?
Well, I'm having a schnitzel, and you're having an innocent chicken sandwich.
Innocent chicken sandwich?
Harmless.
We'll see.
And here's our boat, the Ama Dulce.
Top part there is the lounge, where we have our meals, watch entertainment, and in the back part of the ship where the rooms. There's our room, second floor, third from the left. And now we'll take an extensive tour of the ship.
Well, hello, and welcome to our beautiful, spacious room, where we have a large queen-size bed, and we have a balcony window out onto the river. TV, but wait, there's more. We have a large bathroom with a beautiful shower. Everything you could need.
Us. We're going up to the second floor where there's the reception area, 24 hours. There was somebody there to answer all your questions.
And here's the lounge where they had the evening's musical entertainment programs, and they had snacks and fresh fruit and a cappuccino machine.
24/7. And you were there about
Cappuccino
22
machine.
of those 24/7. Upstairs on the third floor was the library. And in the back of the ship was a quiet lounge.
Where we played a few hands of cards. And next to the lounge is the exercise room with treadmills and weights and beauty parlor. The gift shop. I will definitely go. I'm a painter.
You're a painter too?
Yes.
She makes these paintings as well?
And then there was the dining room where we had 5-course meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Well, we didn't. They were offered. We often partook in the evening feast. We were off doing tours every day.
Then going outside to the sun deck on the top, we watched the land and buildings float by.
With the wind in our hair, and the sun, it was beautiful spring weather.
They had bicycles for the tours. You could take a ride around the city. Outdoor lounge in the front.
Toby went in for an unscheduled visit with our captain.
You can visit the wheelhouse, and I can tell you something about the wheelhouse, what we have here.
So computer controlled here.
No. Control everything with hand. with our head and with a hand.
Are there any reports of icebergs ahead?
I think no. We have the next log in 5 kilometers
Ah,
in approximately 15 minutes.
looks very fancy up here. This was a great ride.
Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
We stopped at Passau, which is the last city in Germany. Visited the St. Stephen's Church, which was the oldest church in Europe. The church had the world's oldest pipe organ. Had 18,000 pipes all scattered throughout.
Český Krumlov. The name means actually Český means Czech, and Krumlov is a special name. I will explain it at the place because you will see them better.
This was probably our favorite village. It was a medieval village. It survived the war intact. It was just like something out of a fairy tale.
The castle has 40 buildings altogether, but that's the main one, where the aristocracy actually lived. Yes, this one here. The other buildings were used for other purposes. This was built into the rocks above the town in the 1300s.
We would take these walking tours for a couple hours, and then they would cut us free to explore places on our own. It was a lot of fun.
It's also lovely. There's some beautiful restaurants and cafes near the river, and since it's pleasant weather, it's just nice to sit there and relax.
4:30 p.m. Here in the main square. A good spot to sit will be the plate pillar here. Yes, on the stairs, on the steps. So just remember, 4:30 right here. You will not see me, you will see Dagmar. Don't look for me, look for Dagmar. And
Yes, that's Hitler in the square. This is the Sudetenlands.
Now we're going through one of the 12 locks.
Here's some of the ship's entertainment. This was a Oktoberfest beer festival they threw for us one night.
Oktoberfest in May.
And these are Hungarian musicians who came on the ship to entertain us.
Vienna was once upon a time the cap of a big empire, with a dynasty, the Habsburgs, that were famous patrons for music. Lots of noble families living here in Vienna, and they all had their own private orchestras. And if you take into consideration that until middle of the 19th century, music was primarily contemporary music. It was always therefore a big need for new compositions. And these noble families with their orchestras were willing to pay a lot of good money for good music.
Yeah, they were big, important buildings.
Big, beautiful, important buildings.
Yes, they all had names.
Yes.
I can't remember what they were.
I bought a sprig of lilac in bloom at the splash. We saw so many beautiful churches that we admired for their architecture. This one had marble columns. Mozart was everywhere. He had traveled Europe. Here's an apartment where he had once lived.
Along with Robert Schumann.
Had lived on the same block.
No, they didn't live together.
No, weren't even roommates. What's that other luscious piano?
nice things about this tour is that we all get one of these, which is a receiver, and we put this little earpiece on our left ear, and the guide will talk into their transmitter, and we can all just walk around and hear all the maps. We are in Bratislava, which is the capital of Slovakia, which used to be attached to Czechoslovakia, and they split up.
Into Czech Republic and Slovakia.
Everywhere you go, everybody's eating ice cream cones. In every city, should have done a montage of ice cream cone people. Good.
I love this fountain. I want this fountain. I'll sacrifice the backyard.
Let's see if I can fit it into one sequence.
We didn't know what to make of this brass sculpture. Is he looking up girls' skirts? This section's for our foodie friends. Look at the feast every night. Beautifully prepared foods.
Well, there you're at the cappuccino machine.
I love the cappuccino machine. This large spread is just breakfast. We had crazy chefs who paraded around the dining room now and then. Budapest.
So one side of the river was the town of Pest, and the other side was Buda, and then they finally decided to get together and call the whole works Budapest.
Now, this is a very beautiful boulevard, let's say. Guests worldwide were invited to
Opera House.
This is Freedom Square.
This is a pro-socialist march.
It was Labor Day the day we were there, so a lot of stores were closed.
Picnicking in the park. We saw a lot of unusual foods and pastries. And more pastries.
More buildings, and I can't remember what they were.
Budapest is known for its paprika. I bought some paprika in a gift shop in this area here.
Well, I guess that's the end. Do you think anybody's still awake?
Boy, I hope so.